Now, if you remember, India's November trade deficit hit a record high, primarily due to weaker exports and more imports. And exports were weak across the board. I think the only exception was electronics. Electronic exports were on the higher side. And one of the key drivers for that has been the EMS space, electronic manufacturing space. And also, there are reports that India's Ministry of Electronics and Technology, MeitY as we call it, is likely to seek Cabinet's approval for a 40,000 crore incentive package, mainly targeted towards the non-semiconductor electronic components. So let's, take this discussion forward with Kaynes Technology. In a Nomura note, they also suggested that the government is targeting to increase the local value addition from 15 to 18% to 35-40% over a 5-year period. Jairam Sampat, whole-time director and CFO at Kaynes Tech, is now with us on the show. Thank you very much for joining in. First, have you heard on this 40,000 crore incentive package? Has there been any discussion on the government? Are they considering it? Is this likely?
Good morning and thank you for having me on the show. So this news has come saying that government has approved, but I think the details have to be worked out. I'm sure that will come out in some time now. So basically this is for components industry to kind of catch up with the business here in India so that they can support all the other EMS players within the country. And PC board, we have a project in the PC board, especially the high density PC board and fabrication. So I think that may benefit from this kind of policy initiative as and when it comes out.
Are there any other electronic components that you would look to enter into?
So at this point in time, as part of our strategy, we are there are two new projects that we have done, which is OSAT, which is semiconductor assembly, and then the second one is the PC board fabrication that we are trying to do. So in addition to that, at this point in time, we are considering several other opportunities, but they are not in the basic component space. They are more into modules and other things. But we do believe that as part of our strategy, we must deepen our technology presence. And just being an assembler is not going to be sufficient for, let's say, meeting the growth aspirations of all the stakeholders that they have on the company. So we are actively looking at adding to our repertoire so that we become a fully integrated EMS player with some niche areas where we can add more value. And they probably will be related to semicon industry itself. So first we have to get our semicon factory going. We are in the process of setting up the buildings and etc. So in the coming year, we can do the proof of concept, as well as by Q4 of next year, we will probably have the commercial production going. Yeah, by the time we'll finalize some other, let's say, modules, etc., that we are interested in. We are actively looking at partners and so
on. Jairam, hi, morning. Just a couple of questions, Prashant here. First, the component business, right? I mean, that's going to be higher margin than just pure assembly as you start to manufacture, some of these components here. Not just for you, but for everybody else. What's the for Kaynes, say a year out or whenever it starts to build out? What will be the share of components as opposed to just assembly?
So one of the components that we actually, I think a PC board will be considered as a component because it's part of a major import from outside of India. So typically in a 100 rupees sale, about 8 to 10 rupees is the cost of the PC board. So obviously we will gain something there, and these PC boards, especially the ones, most of the ones that we use are all high density and multi-layer boards. So that's what we are also setting up capacities for, partly for taking care of our own requirements internally and partly for exports. So that industry will certainly benefit in terms of initial, let's say, help that government gives for 4 to 6 years time frame through a PLI scheme. And we will have to look at the details of this policy initiative, exactly what are the components that they are going to cover. And based on that, we can probably make further, but it's going to be beneficial for all the EMS players, especially those who consume a lot of PC boards and so on.
Is there? I think there is some regulatory.
Like you mentioned.
There is some regulatory protection as well, right, for these PC boards now. I mean, basically to prevent against dumping.
Yes. Yeah, anti-dumping duty is being levied, but see, the tariff barriers and all of these things, they are all short-term measures to give some breathing time to the manufacturers. But ultimately, manufacturers who think about future and actually have the right capacities. So this is an attempt by government to give us some time to catch up. But in terms of long term, you always look at the long term. See, 1, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, we can somehow manage through these initiatives. But beyond that, we must actually be in the right kind of technology space. So even if we put components, semicon, let's say for semicon assembly, we are targeting to put bulk of our capex into advanced packaging. Similarly, in PC board, we are attempting to do high density interconnection boards.
So Jairam, what is the size of the what is the size of the PC board which are sold here in India? The size of the market by value, and what's the share of the market that you can take at Kaynes, according to you? Yeah.
So our capex for this is about 1,400 crores, and so typically at this point in time, of course, we'll think about expanding that later. So 1,400 crores can yield about 2,200 crores of business to us. Maybe in 4 years time frame when we actually do the 100% capacity, not 100%, about 80% capacity utilization. So the total market is about 2,200 crores, out of which maybe a lot of it we will consume. Maybe about 40% is what we are thinking we'll consume. These numbers are for FY30 if you note. And then of course later on we would consider whether we want to expand these capacities further. I think more and more PC boards will go into the high density interconnection, multi-layer boards, special purpose PCBs, flex PCBs and so on. As the contour of electronic products itself will undergo, I think, significant changes over next 4 or 5 years time frame with technology in the product area as well as manufacturing area kind of coming up. So yeah, so I think these are areas which will probably add a lot of let's say value to all the players who have initiatives in that kind of area.
All right, very quickly, sir. Earlier you had told us 3,000 crores for this year with 15% margins. Sticking to that, or is there a possibility that you can surprise on the upside?
Upside surprise we will know after third quarter, but yeah, we stick to that at this point in time.
But there's a possibility that you can surprise on the upside?
Everything is possible, right?
Then we'll have to wait by for that. And also a quick word on the smart meters. Yeah. I recall you had said that you're looking at hitting around 1,000 crores. Could you tell us by when could you hit that 1,000 crores? And it could contribute, I think, 10 to 15% of your total mix is what you were gunning for. Give us a timeline roughly about this projection that you have.
Yeah, so obviously 10% and 1,000 crores are not compatible with each other because given the kind of numbers we have. At this point in time, maybe about 300, 400 crores of business we'll do this year. And in the coming year, we'll try and ramp it up. So we are also putting together, let's say, the final plan for the next year now. Before the fourth quarter, we'll probably launch it. So, yeah, it will get there, I think, in a year or two's time. We have capacities to do almost close to that number already in our new plant in Hyderabad. Just maybe a couple of months and then we'll probably do this activity. So, yeah.
By FY28?
Maybe FY26, FY27. Okay. No, FY27 itself we can get
1,000 crores.
Yeah, large number, yeah.
Just one last question, Mr. Jairam. You said the OSAT will come up by fourth quarter of 26, right? I'm looking at estimates for profits for FY27. So, it's like a linear 26, so 24 was about just under, I'm rounding off, 200 crores, 25 is 300, 26 is 400, 27 is about 500 crores, FY27. Should we go with these numbers broadly?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Yeah, there would be an upside on profits because what happens is once the turnover increases, there are some benefits in terms of operating leverages and so on. Even the other working capital burdens also come down. So yeah, it's safe to go with these numbers. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir, for joining in. That's the word coming in on Kaynes Technology, on PC boards, the electronic components, OSAT, as well as smart meters, and the guidance for the future.